The Seattle rain fell like a mourner's tears, drenching my suit as I stood before Olivia's grave, my heart echoing the hollow thud of earth on her casket. Around me, Vanishes' elite whispered condolences, their faces masked in practiced grief, but I felt only the weight of my failure. I'd built an empire of glass and steel, yet missed the light of my wife's soul. A woman approached through the mist, her frame frail, her eyes sunken with exhaustion. "Sarah Jenkins," she said, her voice barely above the wind. Clutching two boys, Leo and Sam, their faces pale as the gray sky, she handed me a trembling letter. "Olivia's last words," she whispered, "were to protect us when she could not." I froze, the paper a stone in my hand. Olivia, my Olivia, had woven a secret life, pouring her heart into a community clinic, shielding this family from a truth I never glimpsed. Shock coursed through me. I'd lived in a tower of ambition, blind to her quiet heroism. The crowd faded, their murmurs drowned by the rain's relentless hymn. Sarah's gaze held me, raw and unyielding, demanding I see what I'd ignored. The boys' small hands clung to her, their trust in Olivia now a challenge to me. I stood, a stranger at my own wife's grave, the letter burning with a promise I didn't yet grasp. How had I missed her? The question clawed at me, as the wind carried whispers of a life I'd never known, a legacy I'd failed to honor. That night, alone in our penthouse, Seattle's skyline glared through the windows, its cold glow mocking my isolation. I unfolded Olivia's letter, each word a blade carving through my defenses. She wrote of her love for me, steadfast yet strained, and of her loneliness in my world of boardrooms and power. She'd found purpose at the clinic, helping Sarah battle stage for lymphoma, her days filled with meaning I'd never shared. Olivia had been crafting a breakthrough treatment, its data locked in an encrypted drive, a final gift to a world she'd served in secret. Her words pierced deep. How had I missed her heart? I saw her now, not as the shadow of my success, but as a beacon of compassion, her plea binding me to a vow I barely understood. I'd been a man of numbers, of deals, but she'd lived for souls, for Sarah, for those boys. My hands trembled, the letter a mirror to my blindness. I'd failed her, not in love, but in seeing her truth. The city's hum was a hollow echo, my wealth a barren throne. Olivia's spirit lingered in her words, urging me to step beyond myself, to carry her light into a world I'd never touched. Guilt drove me to the Evergreen Medical Center, where Nurse Emily Carter greeted me, her eyes kind yet guarded, as if measuring my worth. The clinic hummed with quiet urgency, its walls worn but warm, a testament to Olivia's unseen work. Emily spoke of my wife's warmth, her tireless hours, and Sarah's desperate fight against a disease that spared no mercy. I saw Leo and Sam in a corner, their laughter a fragile melody piercing my armored heart. They played with toys Olivia had chosen, their joy a thread to a life I'd lost. Emily's words painted a woman I barely knew, one who'd poured her soul into this place, into these people. My failure settled like ash. How had I not seen her here, in this sanctuary of her making? I stood, a stranger to her legacy, my wealth useless against the weight of my regret. Yet, as Leo's eyes met mine, bright with Olivia's spirit, I vowed to honor her wish, to protect what she'd loved, to become the man she'd believed I could be. The Evergreen Medical Center became my refuge, its worn linoleum floors and flickering lights a stark contrast to Vanishes' sterile towers. Yet I felt like an intruder. Sarah's sharp gaze met mine when I offered financial aid, her voice cutting through the clinic's hum. "We don't need your pity, Ethan." She demanded I honor Olivia's work by joining her in the fight, not just funding it. I hesitated, my world of boardrooms ill-suited to this raw, human struggle. Leo and Sam watched me, their eyes wide with hope, but I saw doubt in the nurse's glances, whispers trailing me like shadows. I was Olivia's husband, yet a stranger here, my wealth a hollow offering in this place of heart. The city's pulse throbbed outside, indifferent, as I stood alone, my purpose unmoored. Seattle's fog wrapped the clinic, mirroring my isolation, a man adrift in a legacy I didn't understand. Could I step into Olivia's light? The question lingered, heavy as the rain-soaked earth, my resolve untested against the world's weight. Back at Vanishes, I proposed funding Olivia's research, naming it Project Phoenix, but the boardroom turned cold. Richard Stone, my R&D chief, scoffed, his voice dripping with disdain. A charity project? We're not a nonprofit, Ethan. His words echoed the board's murmurs, their eyes narrowing, questioning my judgment. I'd led them to billions, yet now I was a fool, chasing a dead woman's dream. My office, once a throne, felt like a cage, its glass walls reflecting a man I barely recognized. Olivia's letter haunted me, her plea for Sarah's life a betrayal of my own detachment. I'd trusted these men, built an empire with them, but their loyalty was to profit, not me. The betrayal stung, sharp as the wind off Puget Sound, stripping away my illusions of control. I sat alone, the city's skyline a silent witness, knowing I'd been blind to more than Olivia's heart. I returned to the clinic, defiance stirring in my chest. Sarah sat with Leo, reading, her frail hand steady despite her pain. "If you're serious," she said, "help us decode Olivia's data." I nodded, my voice firm for the first time. "I'm in." It was a small act, but it felt like breaking chains. I set up a laptop in the clinic's cramped office, my hands unsteady on the keys, and used to this raw purpose. Leo peeked over, curious, his smile a spark in the dim room. I wasn't their savior, but I was here, defying the board's scorn, choosing Olivia's path over my own. The rain tapped the window, a rhythm of resolve. As I took my first step against the tide, no longer just a CEO, but a man daring to care. Fear gripped me as I sat in the clinic's dim office, the hum of Seattle's night seeping through the window. A reminder of the world I'd ruled but no longer understood. Olivia's encrypted drive lay before me, its secrets locked, mocking my inadequacy. What if I failed her again? I'd been a titan at Vance Tech, commanding markets, but here, decoding her research, I was a novice, my hands clumsy on the keyboard. The weight of her trust pressed against my chest, heavy as the fog rolling off Puget Sound. I feared losing myself. Ethan Vance, the unyielding CEO, becoming a man adrift, unworthy of her legacy. Leo's laughter echoed from the hall. A fragile tether to hope, yet it sharpened my dread. If I faltered, I'd fail not just Olivia, but Sarah, those boys, this clinic she loved. My reflection in the screen was a stranger, eyes hollow, haunted by a life I'd ignored. The rain's soft chant outside whispered doubts. Was I enough? I'd built towers, but could I build a bridge to her heart? My pulse raced, each beat a question. As I faced the terror of unraveling all I'd been, for a purpose I barely grasped. The threat came swiftly, as I knew it would, in Vance Tech's gleaming boardroom, where Richard Stone's voice sliced through the air like a winter gust. "You're diverting millions to a pipe dream, Ethan," he declared, his eyes glinting with ambition, rallying the board against me. They stared, once allies, now accusers, their whispers branding me reckless, a leader undone by grief. Richard's report, waved like a weapon, detailed Project Phoenix's costs, framing my actions as betrayal. The Seattle skyline loomed beyond the glass, indifferent as I stood exposed, my authority crumbling. He leaked hints to the press, and whispers of my instability spread, a public news tightening. I saw Olivia's face in my mind, her plea for Sarah's life, and felt the sting of their judgment. They'd been my circle, my strength. But now they cornered me, demanding I abandon her dream. The room's silence was a gavel, my legacy at stake. Could I fight them and win? The question burned, sharp as the city's neon glare. As I faced a world turning against me, my resolve tested by their scorn. Yet, in the clinic's quiet, a spark flickered. Sarah sat across from me, her frail frame unyielding, guiding me through Olivia's notes with a fire I envied. "She believed in you," she said, her voice steady, and something shifted within me. I wouldn't let fear or Richard's schemes bury Olivia's work. I brought Leo and Sam to my penthouse that night, their small footsteps echoing in its sterile halls. As Sam laughed, spilling juice, I saw a life beyond boardrooms, one Olivia had envisioned. I vowed to fight, not for power, but for them, for her. The city's rain sang of renewal, its rhythm fueling my resolve. I wasn't whole, but I was alive, driven by a purpose sharper than fear. In that moment, I chose to stand, to decode her data, to defy the board, to be the man she'd seen. The path was uncertain, but my will was clear, a seed of strength taking root in the shadow of doubt. Curiosity burned within me as I pored over Olivia's encrypted drive in the clinic's cramped office, Seattle's dawn casting a pale glow through the window. Her notes hinted at a revolutionary treatment, but the data was a labyrinth, its codes eluding me. Why had she hidden this from me? I traced her handwriting, each loop a whisper of her heart, and wondered if my detachment had driven her to secrecy. At Advanced Tech, I'd sensed Richard Stone's hostility, his eyes sharp with unspoken plans. Was he merely protecting profits, or was there more? I dug into Project Phoenix's budget, cross-referencing clinic records, seeking patterns in the board's resistance. Leo wandered in, his questions about Olivia sparking memories of her late-night work. Her quiet resolve. I asked Nurse Emily about Olivia's final days, her answers vague but heavy with loyalty. The city's hum pulsed outside, a reminder of the empire I'd built, yet here I was, a student of my wife's legacy. Suspicion grew. Richard's swift dismissal of the project felt too calculated. I jotted notes, my pen racing as the rain's soft cadence urged me forward. Could Olivia's work threaten Vanishes' interests? The question rooted deep, like the cedars beyond the city, pulling me into a truth I had to uncover, no matter the cost. A clue emerged late one night, buried in Olivia's files, a reference to a rare compound, critical to her treatment, sourced from a supplier tied to Vanishes. My pulse quickened. Was this why Richard opposed me? I cross-checked invoices, finding discrepancies in R&D funds, some diverted under vague labels. Someone was hiding something. At the penthouse, Sam's crayons scattered across my desk, his chatter grounding me as I worked. Then, a warning came, an email from Richard. CC to the board. Cease your unauthorized project. Ethan. Or face consequences. His tone was a blade, sharp with menace, hinting at deeper schemes. I recalled his late-night calls, his guarded talks with suppliers. The Seattle skyline glittered. Cold and distant, as fear crept in, could he undermine me entirely? Olivia's letter lay nearby, her words a shield. Protect them. I showed Emily the email, her frown confirming my suspicions. She'd seen Richard at the clinic once, questioning Olivia's work. The rain's rhythm faltered, mirroring my unease, as I realized the fight was bigger than I'd thought. This wasn't just about money. It was about power, and I was in his crosshairs, a lone figure against a gathering storm. I stood in the clinic's heart, Sarah beside me, her eyes fierce despite her frailty. We'll crack this, I said, my voice steady, declaring war on doubt and deceit. I'd decode Olivia's data, expose Richard's game, and save Sarah's life, no matter the cost. At the penthouse, I set up a workspace. Leo's drawings taped to the wall, a reminder of why I fought. I emailed Emily, vowing to fund Project Phoenix myself if the board refused. This was my line in the sand, no more hiding behind wealth. The city's fog curled outside, a veil over my past, but I saw clearly now. I'd been a king of glass, but Olivia had shown me a world of flesh and hope. I wrote to the board, demanding transparency, knowing it would spark chaos. If you were me, would you risk it all for a truth unseen? I asked myself, the answer a fire in my chest. The rain sang of courage, its drops a promise, as I chose to act. To honor Olivia, to be more than I'd been, no matter what lay ahead. I acted without hesitation, my heart pounding as I wired millions from my personal accounts to Project Phoenix. Defying the Vanishes board's icy refusal. The clinic's office glowed under Seattle's pre-dawn mist, its walls a quiet witness to my rebellion. I'd been a cautious king. But Olivia's plea, protect them, drove me to risk it all. Sarah's skeptical nod spurred me on as I shared my plan. Hire scientists, decode Olivia's data, save her life. My fingers trembled. Signing the transfers, each click a leap into the unknown. What if I bankrupted myself? The question lingered, sharp as the wind off Elliott Bay. Leo slept nearby. His soft breaths a reminder of why I dared. I recalled Olivia's late nights, her faith in this work, and felt her presence urging me forward. Richard's email, threatening consequences, loomed in my mind, but I pushed it aside. The city's pulse thrummed outside, a challenge to my old self, the CEO who'd never gambled his throne. This was reckless, yes, but it was alive. A pulse of purpose I'd never known. The rain's steady hymn wove through the dawn, its rhythm a call to courage, as I stepped into a fight I might not win, for a woman, a family. A legacy I'd failed too long. Progress came swiftly, a fragile victory in the clinic's cramped lab, where a hired scientist cracked a layer of Olivia's code, revealing a formula's core. Sarah's eyes lit up, her frail hand gripping mine, a spark of hope against her fading strength. We were closer to her treatment, to Olivia's dream. But Richard struck back. his voice venomous in a board meeting. "You're misusing company funds, Ethan." He'd found my transfers, twisting them into accusations of embezzlement, his reported noose tightening around my neck. The board's glares burned, their trust eroding, and whispers of a stock plunge echoed. Seattle's skyline loomed beyond the glass, a cold witness to my unraveling. I'd gained ground, but at what cost? Richard's threat to audit my accounts chilled me. Could he ruin me before we saved Sarah? Leo's drawing, taped to my desk, steadied me, its colors a beacon. The rain faltered, its song uneven, mirroring my fear. I was winning, but losing, a man caught between hope and peril, my small triumph shadowed by a storm I couldn't yet see. I stood in my penthouse, Leo and Sam asleep, their laughter still echoing in the once sterile halls. I wouldn't turn back. I wrote a letter to Olivia, not to send, but to affirm my vow. I'd finish what she started, be the man she'd seen. My reflection in the window showed a face worn but alive, no longer the cold CEO. I'd fund the project, fight Richard's lies, and protect this family, even if it cost my empire. The city's fog curled outside, a soft veil over my past, but my path was clear. I taped Leo's drawing beside Olivia's letter, their colors a promise. If you were me, would you keep going? Knowing the cost? I asked the night, my answer a fire in my bones. I was no hero, but I was theirs, bound to Sarah, to these boys, to a truth worth more than gold. The rain song returned. Steady and warm, its notes a vow, as I embraced a self I'd never known, ready to face whatever came next. The Vance Tech boardroom buzzed with tension. Seattle's skyline a stark backdrop as I stepped forward, facing a sea of skeptical faces. Richard Stone had called an emergency meeting, his accusations of my embezzlement splashed across headlines. The stock plummeting. Cameras flashed, reporters crowding the glass walls, their lenses hungry for my fall. I clutched Olivia's letter, its weight my anchor, and spoke. This is about Project Phoenix. My wife's legacy to save lives. My voice trembled, but I pressed on, detailing her work, Sarah's fight, the clinic's hope. The board shifted, eyes flickering with doubt, not at me, but at Richard's smug grin. I'd risked everything, my fortune, my name for this moment, to honor Olivia's plea. The city's rain pounded outside, a fierce chorus urging me to stand tall. Leo and Sam's faces flashed in my mind, their trust a fire in my chest. I laid out the evidence, Olivia's notes, the clinic's records, my personal funds. Gasps rippled through the room as I revealed the truth Richard had buried. The air crackled, a storm breaking, as I stood exposed yet unyielding, no longer the cold CEO, but a man fighting for something greater. The world watched, and I felt Olivia's spirit beside me, her light piercing the chaos, demanding justice. Nurse Emily stepped forward, her voice clear, holding a file that silenced the room. Richard Stone diverted R&D funds for personal gain, she said, presenting invoices I'd uncovered, linked to his hidden accounts. The board's eyes widened, their murmurs turning to shock. Emily recounted Richard's visit to the clinic, his probing questions about Olivia's research, his attempts to sabotage it. I added my findings. Emails showing his collusion with suppliers to block Project Phoenix's compound. The evidence was undeniable, a blade cutting through his lies. Richard's face paled, his defense crumbling as a board member demanded answers. The Seattle fog pressed against the windows, heavy with the weight of truth unveiled. Olivia's legacy, once hidden, now shown. Her work validated by Emily's courage and my defiance. The reporters scribbled furiously, their skepticism shifting to intrigue. I saw Sarah in my mind, her frail strength my guide, and knew this was her fight too. Richard's betrayal, laid bare, was a wound exposed to light, its poison draining. The room's silence was a turning point, my heart steady as the tide began to turn. Olivia's dream rising from the ashes of deceit. The board's whispers grew to voices of support, their doubt replaced by conviction as they called for Richard's suspension. A reporter broke the silence, her question kind. Is this for Olivia? I nodded, my throat tight, and the room softened, eyes meeting mine with new respect. Social media buzzed outside. Hashtag Project Phoenix trending, the public rallying behind the clinic's cause. The stock steadied, investors praising my integrity. Seattle's rain softened to a drizzle, it sung a gentle hymn of renewal, washing away the city's cold judgment. Board members approached, offering apologies, their hands extended in solidarity. Emily smiled, her faith in me a mirror of Olivia's. I thought of Leo and Sam, safe in my penthouse, their laughter my true wealth. The world had doubted me, but now it saw Olivia's heart, my fight, our shared purpose. If you'd been there, would you have felt it? The shift from scorn to belief? The moment held me, a man reborn, as society's gaze turned warm, embracing a truth I'd bled for, a legacy that would not fade. Victory over Richard should have freed me, but as I sat in my penthouse, Seattle's skyline dim against the dawn, doubt gnawed at my core. Had I destroyed too much? Vanishes' stock had stabilized, but whispers of my recklessness lingered, my legacy tarnished. Sarah's cough echoed from the hospital, her life fading, and I questioned every choice. Was Project Phoenix a fool's errand? My atonement for failing Olivia? I'd poured millions into it, alienated the board, and risked my name. Yet her treatment remained locked in data I couldn't crack. The city's hum mocked my fragility. A man who'd built an empire but couldn't save one life. Leo's drawings, taped to the wall, seemed to judge me, their colors dimmed by my fear of failure. Had I traded my power for a dream that would crumble? Olivia's letter lay open, her words a mirror to my inadequacy. Protect them. But could I? The rain's rhythm faltered outside. Its song fractured him, reflecting my unraveling. I'd fought for truth, but now I doubted my strength, my worth, my right to carry her light. If you were me, would you believe you were enough? The question burned, a wound unhealed, as I sat, a man adrift in the wreckage of his own making. Sarah's hospital room, sterile and cold, became the crucible of my deepest fear. Her shallow breaths haunted me, each one a countdown I couldn't stop. I feared failing her, failing Olivia, losing Leo and Sam, the family I'd only just found. Memories of Olivia's final days flooded back, her gentle smile hiding her pain, my blindness to her heart a sin I couldn't erase. What if I was still that man, too selfish to see, too weak to save? The beeping monitors echoed my childhood, my father's voice calling me unworthy, a shadow I'd never outrun. I saw Leo's eyes, trusting, and Sam's small hand in mine, and terror gripped me. What if I let them down? Seattle's fog pressed against the window, thick with my dread, a veil over a future I couldn't secure. I'd faced boardrooms, but this fear of being nothing, of breaking their hearts, was a chasm I couldn't cross. If you've ever felt alone against the world, you'd know this panic, this weight of love and loss. I stood by her bed, my hands empty, my soul laid bare, fearing I'd lose them all, just as I'd lost Olivia to my own failing heart. Yet, in that sterile room, a truth took root. I wasn't perfect, but I was here, fighting for Sarah, for Olivia's dream. I looked at Leo, asleep in a chair, and saw Olivia's faith in me, not as a titan, but as a man who tried. I wouldn't let fear win. I'd decode her data, save Sarah, and be the father these boys deserved, no matter the cost. The fog lifted slightly, Seattle's dawn breaking through, its light a quiet promise. I wrote in my journal, not for glory, but to mark this vow. I'd carry on, flawed but fierce. My past, my doubts, were shadows, but I was more bound to this family, this purpose. If you were me, would you choose to rise, despite the scars? I did, my heart steady, as I embraced my brokenness, not as shame, but as strength. The rain's song returned, soft and sure, its notes a guide, as I stood, no longer afraid, ready to be the man Olivia had always seen. The world split in two as I stood in the Evergreen Medical Center, Seattle's rain a relentless drum against the windows. Social media erupted. Hashtag Project Phoenix, a beacon for some, a scandal for others. Supporters hailed me as a hero, their posts praising Olivia's vision, the clinic's hope. Yet, online forums buzzed with venom, calling me a reckless CEO, squandering Vanishes' wealth on a pipe dream. Headlines clashed, Vance's noble quest versus tech titan's folly. The city's pulse throbbed, its neon lights flickering like divided hearts. I read a tweet accusing me of exploiting Sarah's illness, and my stomach churned. Had I misled them? Leo's hand tugged mine, his eyes bright. But the doubt stung. Did the world see Olivia's truth, or my failure? Nurse Emily showed me letters of support, their words warm, but the hate mail piled higher, each line a blade. The rain's song wavered, its rhythm caught in the city's discord, mirroring the fracture in my resolve. If you were me, would you trust the crowd's cheers or fear their scorn? I wanted to believe in the good, but the divide tore at me, a man caught between light and shadow, unsure if my fight honored Olivia or defiled her name. Richard's counterattack came like a squall. Swift and brutal, his lies flooding the media. He leaked a fabricated report claiming Project Phoenix's trials were unethical, endangering lives. Vance's experiments are reckless. He told reporters, his face grim on every screen. My phone buzzed with alerts, lawsuits threatened, regulators circling, the board wavering. Seattle's skyline loomed. Its steel towers cold as the accusations piercing me. I'd exposed his corruption, but he twisted the narrative, painting me as the villain. A lawyer's letter demanded I halt the project, citing gross misconduct. My hand shook. Olivia's letter my only anchor, its plea, protect them, now a fading echo. Emily found me, her voice steady, but her eyes betrayed worry. Richard had contacted the clinic's suppliers, delaying critical materials. The rain pounded harder, its fury a mirror to my rage and fear. Could he bury Olivia's work? The question clawed at me, sharp as the wind off Puget Sound. I'd fought for truth, but his lies were louder, threatening to drown Sarah's hope, my purpose, everything I'd become. If you faced such betrayal, would you still stand? I wavered, a man under siege, my heart battling the storm. Sarah's monitors beeped faintly, her life slipping as I sat by her bed, the hospital's sterile air choking me. Richard's lies had pushed me to the edge. Vance Tech's stock teetered, my name slandered, the project's future dim. Could I save her, save them, when the world turned against me? Leo and Sam slept nearby, their trust a weight I feared I'd break. I saw Olivia's face, her faith in me, and felt the chasm of my limits. The board's email arrived, urging me to resign. Their words a final blow. Seattle's fog wrapped the window, thick as my despair, a veil over a fight I might lose. If you'd stood here, would you believe you could win? I doubted, my strength fraying. Each beep a reminder of time running out. I defied Richard, funded hope, but now I was cornered, my empire crumbling, my purpose questioned. The rain song faded, its notes lost in the city's roar. As I faced my breaking point, a man alone, wondering if I'd gambled too much, if Olivia's dream would die with Sarah, with me. In the hospital's dim light, as Sarah's monitors beeped weakly, I felt the weight of my solitude, Seattle's fog a shroud beyond the window. Then, Nurse Emily gripped my hand, her eyes fierce with resolve. I'm with you, Ethan, she said. Her voice a lifeline in the storm. She'd seen Olivia's heart, worked beside her, and believed in Project Phoenix when I faltered. Her faith cut through my despair. A spark in the cold sterility of the room. I'd been alone, battered by Richard's lies, the media's scorn, but Emily stood firm, her courage a mirror to Olivia's. She brought a laptop, showing me clinic records she'd saved, proof of our work's integrity. Leo stirred nearby, his sleepy smile a quiet echo of hope, but it was Emily's stand that steadied me. The city's rain tapped softly, its rhythm a gentle call to trust again. Had I earned her loyalty? The question lingered, soft as the Puget Sound's whisper, but her presence answered. A beacon in my darkness. If you were me, would you dare to lean on another's strength? I did, my heart opening, as Emily became my ally, her resolve a root taking hold. Promising I wasn't alone in this fight. We sat by Sarah's bed, Emily and I, forging a bond over Olivia's notes, our shared faith in her vision. She shared stories of Olivia's late nights, her laughter with patience, her unyielding spirit. I opened up, admitting my fear of failing Sarah, of losing Leo and Sam. Emily listened, her nod a vow of trust, and we planned. She'd rally clinic staff, I'd push the research. Our connection grew, a bridge built on truth, not power. I gave her access to my accounts, transparency my offering, and she organized volunteers to counter Richard's lies. The hospital's hum faded, replaced by our quiet resolve, Seattle's dawn breaking through the fog, its light warm on our faces. We were no army, but we were enough, bound by Olivia's dream. If you've ever found a friend in crisis, you'd know this strength, this faith reborn. I saw Sam's drawing taped to the wall, and felt Olivia's hand in ours, guiding us. The rain song swelled, its notes a chorus of hope, as we worked, side by side, our trust a shield against the world's doubt. Our purpose clear in the face of peril. The clinic buzzed with new life as Emily's call spread, staff and patients joining our cause. Volunteers posted online, #TruthForPhoenix trending. Their videos sharing Olivia's work, Sarah's fight. A board member, moved by Emily's plea, pledged support, swaying others to reconsider. Social media shifted, the public's voice rising, demanding justice for the clinic. Seattle's streets hummed with their energy, its cedars swaying as if nodding approval. I read a post from a stranger, thanking us for hope. And my chest tightened, Olivia's light was spreading. The media pivoted, questioning Richard's claims, their headlines softening. Leo and Sam helped, their small hands stuffing envelopes with flyers. Their laughter a spark for all. The rain fell gently, its rhythm a hymn of unity, washing away the city's division. If you saw this, would you feel the tide turn? I did, standing in the clinic. No longer alone, but part of a chorus. The community's strength grew, a wave lifting us, as Project Phoenix became more than my fight. It was theirs, ours, a legacy reborn in shared belief. Ready to face the final storm. Richard Stone's shadow loomed larger, his final assault a tempest unleashed on Seattle's airwaves. From a press conference, he brandished forged documents, claiming Project Phoenix's trials violated ethics, endangering Sarah's life. Vance is a fraud, he roared, his words venomous, igniting a media frenzy. Regulators descended on the clinic, their audits a noose tightening. My phone buzzed with alerts, lawsuits filed, investors fleeing, Vance Tech's stock in freefall. The city's skyline glared, its steel spires cold as the accusations tearing at my name. I stood in the Evergreen Medical Center, Sarah's weakening pulse a drum in my ears, and felt Richard's grip, stronger now, crushing our hope. He'd rallied ex-board members, their voices amplifying his lies, painting me as a madman risking lives for glory. The rain lashed the windows, its fury a mirror to my dread. Could he bury Olivia's dream? Leo's hand in mine trembled, his trust a fragile thread. Emily's eyes met mine, urging me to fight, but Richard's attack was relentless. A storm threatening to drown us. If you faced such odds, would you stand? I wavered, the city's pulse a taunt. As I braced for a battle I might not win, Olivia's letter my only shield. The showdown came in a packed courtroom, Seattle's gray dawn filtering through high windows, as I faced Richard's lies head-on. My team, Emily, scientists, loyal board members, stood with me. Our evidence a sword against his deceit. I spoke, my voice steady. Project Phoenix is Olivia's truth, not a fraud. I presented Olivia's decrypted data, its breakthrough compound validated by our trial's early success. Emily testified, her words clear, exposing Richard's forged records, his sabotage of clinic supplies. I revealed his embezzled funds, emails tying him to illegal deals, each word a strike. Richard's composure cracked, his eyes darting as the judge's gavel loomed. The city's rain softened outside, its rhythm a pulse of justice. Sarah's face, frail but hopeful, fueled me. She'd shown signs of recovery, our trial working. The courtroom's air shifted, reporters scribbling, the public's gaze turning. If you were there, would you feel the truth's weight? I did, standing tall, no longer alone, as we dismantled Richard's empire of lies, Olivia's legacy shining through the storm. Her plea, protect them, a fire in my soul, driving me to end this war. The truth broke through, a cathartic wave washing over the courtroom as the judge ruled. Richard's claims were baseless, his assets seized for fraud. Sarah's monitors showed steady vitals, her recovery a miracle born of Olivia's genius. The media pivoted, headlines hailing Vance's triumph. Hashtag Project Phoenix, a global cry. Seattle's rain fell gently, its song a hymn of renewal, cleansing the city's doubt. The board reinstated me, their apologies sincere, but I cared only for the clinic. For Sarah, Leo, Sam. Emily embraced me, her faith repaid, our alliance a testament to Olivia's heart. The public flooded the clinic with support, their donations a tide lifting us. Richard faced charges, his empire crumbled, his lies dust. If you'd seen this, would you feel the world shift? I did, standing by Sarah's bed, her hand warm in mine, Leo's laughter echoing. Olivia's dream lived, her data open-sourced, a gift to humanity. My heart swelled, the fog lifting as I knew I'd honored her, not as a titan, but as a man who loved, fought, won. The rain's notes sang clear, a promise kept, a life reborn. The courtroom victory should have lifted me, but as I stood in my penthouse, Seattle's skyline a muted glow, I counted my losses. Vanishes' board had reinstated me, but their trust was fractured, their eyes wary, my once ironclad authority eroded. Colleagues I'd called friends distanced themselves, their silence louder than Richard's lies. My reputation, forged over decades, bore scars, headlines still whispered, reckless, even as they praised my cause. I'd saved Sarah, honored Olivia. But at what cost? Leo's laughter filled the rooms, yet I missed the old ease of power, the world's nod of respect. Olivia's letter lay on my desk, its words a bittersweet echo. Protect them. I had. But I'd lost parts of myself, the CEO, the Titan, the man who never faltered. The city's rain fell heavy, its rhythm a mournful chant, mirroring the ache in my chest. If you'd won a war but lost your home, would you feel this void? I did, staring at Sam's drawings, their colors bright yet distant, a reminder of joy I'd fought for but couldn't fully claim. A man adrift in the wake of truth's price. I sat by the window, the fog curling over Puget Sound, and accepted the cost. I'd chosen Sarah's life, Leo and Sam's future, over my empire's shine. And I'd choose it again. The board's doubt, the lost allies, the tarnished name, they were shadows, not chains. I'd traded power for purpose, and though it stung, it freed me. Olivia had lived for others, her heart open, and I'd followed. My loss is a badge of that path. I wrote in my journal, not to mourn, but to release. I was enough, not for the world, but for them. For her. The rain song softened, its notes a quiet absolution, washing away my need for old glories. If you faced such a reckoning, would you embrace the scars? I did, my heart steady, as I let go of the man I'd been, finding peace in the man I'd become. Seattle's dawn broke, faint but sure, its light a promise I could live with what I'd lost, knowing what I'd gained. Love, truth, a family bound by more than blood. I stood in the clinic, Sarah's smile weak but warm, and began to rebuild. I wasn't the CEO of old, but a man with a new name. Father, ally, keeper of Olivia's flame. I sketched plans for the Olivia Vance Foundation, its mission to share her research freely, a seed for healing beyond us. Leo helped, his crayons tracing dreams, while Sam's chatter filled the air. Their presence my new foundation. I learned to laugh again, to listen, to live without the weight of titles. The city cedars swayed outside, their roots deep, a mirror to my resolve. I wrote a speech, not for boardrooms, but for the world, to share our story, to inspire. If you were rebuilding, would you start with love? I did, taping Leo's drawing to the clinic wall. Its colors my guide. The rain fell gently, its rhythm a hymn of beginnings, urging me forward. I was no Titan, but I was whole, shaped by loss, forged by truth, ready to carry Olivia's light. Not for glory, but for those I loved, for a world that needed hope. In the Evergreen Medical Center, as Seattle's dawn painted the walls gold, Sarah sat up in her bed, her eyes clear. Seeing me not as the CEO, but as Ethan, the man who'd faltered yet fought. You're more than you know, she said, her voice soft but piercing, her hand warm in mine. She'd survived because of Olivia's dream, my fight, and now she saw my heart, raw, scarred, but true. I'd hidden behind titles, fearing my flaws, but Sarah's gaze stripped that away. She spoke of Leo and Sam, how they loved me, not my power, and I felt seen, truly seen, for the first time since Olivia's smile faded. The city's rain whispered outside, its rhythm a gentle pulse. Echoing her words, had I ever let anyone see me? The question settled, soft as the mist over Puget Sound, but her faith answered, a light in my shadowed soul. If you were me, would you trust such a mirror? I did, my chest loosening as Sarah became my guide, her strength a balm, showing me I was enough, not for the world, but for this family, this moment, this healing. I stood by the clinic's window, Seattle's fog lifting, and chose forgiveness, not for others, but for me. I'd failed Olivia, blind to her heart, and carried the guilt like stone. Yet, her letter taught me love, not blame, and I let it go, whispering, I'm sorry, I'm free. The board's betrayal, Richard's lies, they'd wounded me, but holding anger chained my heart. I forgave them, not for their sake, but for mine, to live for Leo, Sam, Sarah. I wrote a letter to my old self, the cold Titan, and burned it, its ashes a release. The rain song swelled, its notes a chorus of peace, washing away years of regret. If you carried such weight, would you set it down? I did, my soul lighter, as I embraced my flaws, not as shame, but as proof I'd grown. Olivia's spirit lingered, her love a guide, forgiving me as I forgave myself, freeing me to love this family, to build her legacy. Seattle's light broke through, warm and sure. A promise I could live unburdened, my heart open to a future unbound by past sins. In my penthouse, I found a photo of Olivia, her smile radiant, tucked in Leo's sketchbook. It was my symbol of healing, a bridge to her, to us. I framed it, placing it beside Sam's new drawing, their colors a tapestry of love. The act felt sacred, tying my past to my present. A vow to carry her light. I hung it in the clinic, where Sarah smiled, her strength reborn, and Leo laughed, his joy my anchor. The city cedars swayed outside, their roots deep, mirroring my new foundation. If you found such a sign, would you hold it close? I did, my heart full, as I saw Olivia in their faces, her legacy alive in our home, our work. The rain fell softly, its rhythm a hymn of renewal, urging me forward. I was no longer broken, but whole, shaped by love, not loss. The photo gleamed, a star in our story, as I stood with my family, ready to build the Olivia Vance Foundation, to live for hope, for them, for her. Each morning, I woke to Seattle's gentle dawn, its light soft on the penthouse walls, now warm with Leo's drawings and Sam's scattered toys. I brewed coffee, the aroma grounding me, and opened the windows, letting the city's hum blend with birdsong. Sarah joined us, her strength returning, her laughter a melody in our home. We walked to the park, Leo racing ahead, Sam tugging my hand, their joy my new rhythm. The old Ethan, cold, driven, faded, replaced by a man who lived for these moments. Vance Tech ran smoothly, but my heart was here, in this family, this life reborn. The rain fell lightly, its patter a quiet hymn, echoing the peace I'd found. If you traded power for love, would you savor such mornings? I did, my soul steady as I embraced this simplicity. No longer chasing titles, but cherishing the warmth of home. Seattle's cedars stood tall beyond the city, their roots a mirror to my own, deep and sure, grounding me in a life I'd never dreamed possible, yet now couldn't imagine losing. I poured my heart into the Olivia Vance Foundation, co-founded with Sarah. Its mission to share Olivia's research freely, healing lives beyond our own. We opened a community center at the Evergreen Medical Center, offering free clinics, support groups, hope. I met patients, their stories echoing Sarah's, and felt Olivia's spirit in their thanks. Leo and Sam helped, handing out flyers, their smiles a spark for all. I spoke at schools, sharing our journey, urging kids to dream big, to care. The city's pulse thrummed with our work, its streets alive with volunteers. The rain song swelled, its notes a chorus of purpose, urging us to give more. If you could turn pain into good, would you? I did, my hands steady as I built this legacy, not for glory, but for those Olivia loved, for strangers who needed light. Seattle's light broke through, warm and clear, a promise our work would ripple, touching lives we'd never know, a testament to her heart, to our shared fight. Our story spread, igniting a movement across Seattle, then beyond. People shared their own tales of loss, hope, healing, using hashtag Olivia Vance to connect. Community groups formed, inspired by our foundation, offering aid, kindness, courage. I read a letter from a mother, saved by our research, and my chest tightened. Olivia lived in her. At a rally, I spoke, my voice clear. Your story matters. Tell it. The crowd roared, their faces alight, a tapestry of resilience. Leo and Sam stood beside me, their hands in mine, our family a beacon. The city cedars swayed, their branches a nod to our shared strength. If you saw this, would you join the chorus? I did, my heart full, as I watched our spark grow, a fire of hope. The rain fell gently, its rhythm a hymn of unity, binding us. Seattle's streets hummed with their voices, a community reborn, inspired by one woman's dream, one man's fight, one family's love, ready to change the world. I returned to Olivia's grave. Seattle's rain a soft veil, the cemetery quiet under the cedars' watch. Once, I'd stood here shattered, blind to her heart, Sarah's letter a wound I couldn't grasp. Now I knelt, my fingers tracing her name, the stone cool but warm with memory. The pain lingered, my failure to see her, to share her light, but it no longer owned me. I spoke to her, my voice low, telling of Sarah's recovery, Leo and Sam's laughter, the foundation bearing her name. The city's hum faded, replaced by the rain's gentle chant, its rhythm a balm to old scars. If you revisited your hurt, would you find peace? I did, my heart open as I saw her not as loss, but as my guide, her love etched in every step I'd taken. The fog curled over Puget Sound, a whisper of forgiveness, softening the edges of my guilt. I left a flower, its petals bright, a promise to carry her forward, not in sorrow, but in joy. Seattle's light broke through, faint but sure. As I stood, no longer haunted, ready to face the past with eyes renewed. I met Richard Stone in a quiet cafe, Seattle's dawn casting shadows across his face, lined with regret. Once my betrayer. He'd lost everything, his title, his wealth, his pride. I didn't come to accuse, but to close a chapter. Why, Richard? I asked, my voice calm, seeking truth, not vengeance. He spoke of ambition, fear, a life-chasing power that left him empty. I envied you, he admitted, his eyes meeting mine, raw with shame. I shared my journey, Olivia's dream, my fight, my family, not to boast, but to show what I gained. The rain tapped the window, its rhythm a steady pulse, urging us to let go. If you faced your foe, would you seek their heart? I did, my anger gone, replaced by pity, understanding. He apologized, his voice breaking, and I nodded, not for him, but for me, to free my soul. Seattle's cedars loomed outside, their branches a nod to closure, as we parted, not friends, but no longer enemies, two men shaped by choices, seeking peace in the wreckage. We both changed, I saw, as I left the cafe, Seattle's streets alive with morning light. I was no longer the cold CEO, but a father, a healer, bound to Olivia's legacy. Richard, stripped of his empire, seemed smaller, yet lighter, his arrogance shed like old skin. Our paths had diverged, but in that moment, I saw his humanity, flawed like mine. A board member, once skeptical, emailed me, praising the foundation, his tone warm, a sign of their shift. The city's rain fell gently. It sung a hymn of renewal, washing away old divides. If you saw such change, would you believe in growth? I did, my heart full, as I walked home to Sarah, Leo, Sam, their love my true mirror. The cedars swayed, their roots deep, reflecting our shared journey, mine to love, his to redeem. Seattle's sky cleared, its light a promise of new beginnings, as I embraced my transformation. Seeing theirs, a quiet nod to a past we'd both outgrown, ready to live for what lay ahead. I stood before a camera in the Evergreen Medical Center, Seattle's rain-a-soft backdrop. My hands steady as I shared our story. I was blind to my wife's heart. I began, my voice raw, recounting Olivia's secret life, Sarah's fight, our battle against Richard's lies. My first video, posted online, trembled with truth, Leo's laughter, Sam's drawings, the foundation's birth. My heart raced, bearing my failures, my growth to strangers. The city's cedars framed the window, their branches a silent nod, urging me to speak. Views climbed, comments poured in. You gave me courage, one read, my chest tightening. I wasn't a hero, but a man who'd fallen, risen, loved. The rain's rhythm pulsed. It sung a call to connect, to share. If you shared your scars, would the world listen? I did, my soul open. As the video spread, hashtag Olivia Vance trending. A spark igniting hearts. Seattle's dawn glowed, its light a promise, as I stood, no longer hiding. My story a bridge to others, a testament to Olivia's dream, to our fight, to hope reborn in a world watching. The video sparked change, its ripples reaching beyond Seattle shores. Communities rallied, inspired by the Olivia Vance Foundation, launching free clinics, sharing research, healing lives. A hospital in Chicago adopted our model, crediting our story, while schools taught Olivia's compassion. Social media buzzed, hashtag Olivia Vance a cry for justice, kindness. I spoke at a global health summit, my words echoing. Hope begins with one heart. Leaders listened, policies shifted, funding flowed to community care. The city's rain fell steady. Its notes a chorus of progress, binding us. If your story moved mountains, would you speak louder? I did, my voice clear, as I saw Olivia's light in every clinic, every saved life. Sarah stood beside me, her strength a beacon. Leo and Sam's smiles our fuel. Seattle's cedars swayed, their roots deep, mirroring the change we'd sown. The world responded, its voices rising. A tapestry of action woven from our pain, our love, our fight, transforming systems, lives, futures, in Olivia's name, for all who needed hope. I urged others to share, my voice a call at rallies. In videos, across Seattle's vibrant streets. Your story can save someone, I said, eyes on the crowd, their faces alight with possibility. Letters arrived, each one a life touched, mothers, fathers. Youth, finding strength in our tale. A girl wrote, I fought because of you, and I saw Olivia in her. The foundation grew, a hub for stories, hope, healing, #Olivia Vance a global chant. The Rain's song swelled, its rhythm a hymn of unity, urging all to rise. If you held such power, would you give it away? I did, my heart full, as I invited the world to speak, to heal. Leo and Sam joined me, their hands in mine, our family a spark. Seattle's light shone clear, its promise boundless, as I stood, a man reborn, sowing hope. The cedars stood tall, their branches wide, embracing a world where every voice mattered, every story a seed, growing a future bright with Olivia's love. I stood on my penthouse balcony, Seattle's skyline aglow, its rain a gentle curtain, and knew I'd never regret this journey. I'd lost my empire's sheen, my name's untarnished glow, but gained a family, a purpose, Olivia's light. Each choice, funding Project Phoenix, defying Richard. Saving Sarah was a step toward truth, not power. The pain of Olivia's loss, the board's betrayal, the world's scorn, forged me, not broke me. I'd faced fear, doubt, failure, yet chose love. Every time, Leo's laughter drifted from inside, Sam's chatter a melody, Sarah's smile my anchor. If I'd stayed the cold CEO, I'd have wealth, but no heart. The city's cedars stood tall, their branches a nod to my resolve, unyielding yet soft. If you'd walked my path, would you choose it again? I would, my soul steady, proud of scars earned for love, for hope. The rain's rhythm sang, its notes a vow, as I embraced every moment, bitter, sweet, true, knowing they led me here, to a life I'd never trade, a legacy I'd carry forever, Olivia's dream alive in me. The pain, once my enemy, became my teacher, and I thanked it. Seattle's fog a soft veil over my past. Olivia's death shattered me, but it opened my eyes, her letter a map to redemption. Richard's lies, the board's doubt. Sarah's fading pulse. They hurt, but taught me strength, trust, love. Each wound shaped me, carving space for Leo's hugs, Sam's questions, Sarah's faith. Without pain, I'd never have found the clinic. Never held Olivia's data, never built her foundation. The city's rain fell steady, its song a hymn of gratitude, washing away regret. If you'd suffered such loss, would you bless it? I did. My heart full, as I saw pain's gift, a life of meaning, not ease. The cedar's roots ran deep, mirroring my own, grown stronger through struggle. I wrote in my journal, thanking each hurt, each tear, for leading me to this family, this purpose. Seattle's light broke through, warm and clear, a promise that pain, embraced, becomes love, a force to heal, to build, to live. One sentence held it all, carved in my soul as I watched Seattle's dawn. I found my heart in loss, my strength in love, my purpose in Olivia's light. It captured the grave's shock, the clinic's hope, the courtroom's truth, the foundation's birth. It spoke of Sarah's survival, Leo and Sam's joy, my transformation from titan to father. The rain's final notes fell, its rhythm a pulse of eternity, sealing my truth. If you could sum your life, what would you say? I said this, my voice clear, as I stood with my family, their hands in mine. The cedars swayed, their branches wide, embracing my words. A beacon for all. Seattle's sky glowed, its promise boundless, as I spoke my truth, a star in our story. The world waited, ready to hear, to heal, and I knew this sentence, born of pain, love, hope, would live on, guiding others, lighting paths, as Olivia's love did for me, forever. I sat at my desk in the penthouse, Seattle's rain a soft murmur, and wrote to the Ethan of old, the man who ruled Vance Tech with a frozen heart. You were lost. I began, my pen steady, recalling nights alone, chasing power, blind to Olivia's light. You feared weakness, hid pain, believed love was a luxury you couldn't afford. I saw you at her grave, shattered by Sarah's letter, unaware it would save you. I don't judge you. You built an empire, but it was a cage. Leo's laughter echoed now, Sam's toys scattered, Sarah's voice warm. You couldn't dream this, but I'm here because of you. The city cedars stood beyond, their roots deep, a nod to your strength. Misguided but real. If you could write to your past, would you offer grace? I did, my words a bridge, forgiving that man for his coldness, his fear. The rain's rhythm pulsed, its song a quiet vow. As I told him of Olivia's legacy, our family, our hope, Seattle's dawn glowed, its light a promise, as I folded the letter, not to sin, but to heal, to honor the man who led me here. What I once hated, my flaws, my failures, I now cherished, Seattle's fog a gentle veil over my past. I despised my blindness to Olivia, my ambition that isolated me, my fear of losing control. Yet, that blindness led me to her letter, to Sarah, to the clinic's truth. Ambition drove me to fund Project Phoenix, to fight Richard's lies, to save lives. Fear taught me courage. Each tremble a step toward love. I loathed my soft heart, but it held Leo's trust, Sam's joy, Sarah's faith. The rain's song swelled, its notes a hymn of value, embracing what I'd shunned. If you could love your faults, would you see their gifts? I did, my soul steady, as I saw each crack as a root, growing me stronger. The cedar's branches swayed, their shade a mirror to my growth. Flaws turned to strength. I wrote in my journal, listing what I'd hated, now treasures, guiding me to this family, this purpose. Seattle's light broke through, warm and sure. A testament to a self I'd learned to hold, not hide. I stood before my mirror, Seattle's skyline aglow, and embraced myself, whole, unbroken. My face bore lines of loss, love, fight. But my eyes shone, alive with Olivia's light, Sarah's strength, Leo and Sam's hope. I wasn't the titan I'd been, nor the failure I'd feared, but Ethan, father, healer, man. I smiled, not with shame, but pride for every scar, every choice. The rain fell softly, its rhythm a pulse of peace, sealing my acceptance. If you looked at yourself, would you see enough? I did, my heart full. As I vowed to live, not for applause, but for them, for me. The cedars stood tall, their roots my own, grounding me in love. I touched the mirror, my hand steady. A silent promise to never turn away again. Seattle's dawn burned bright, its promise eternal, as I stood, no longer running, but rooted, complete. Leo called, Sam laughed, Sarah waited. And I knew I was home, myself, embraced, ready to carry Olivia's dream, my truth, forever. I sat in the Evergreen Medical Center, Seattle's rain a steady whisper, and wrote to Richard Stone, the man I'd once hated with every fiber. You broke my trust, I began, my pen calm, recalling his lies, his sabotage, the pain of his accusations. You wanted my fall, my shame, and for a time, I wished you the same. I named each wound Vance Tekka's crisis, Sarah's peril, Olivia's dream nearly lost, yet my words held no venom. I saw you now, driven by fear, ambition. A heart as lost as mine once was. Leo's drawing lay nearby, its colors soft, a reminder of what I'd gained. The city cedars framed the window, their branches still, urging truth. If you wrote to your betrayer, would you seek peace? I did, my heart open, as I told him of my journey, my family, my forgiveness. The rain's rhythm pulsed, its song a quiet call to release, not curse. Seattle's dawn glowed faintly, its light a promise, as I wrote, not to wound, but to heal, to free myself from hate, to honor Olivia's love, her legacy, with a heart unburdened. Resentment once chained me, but I stood by the clinic's window, Seattle's fog lifting, and knew I held it no more. Richard's betrayal, the board's doubt, their cold dismissal, they'd scarred me. But I'd grown beyond their weight. Holding anger served no one, not Sarah, not Leo, not Sam, not Olivia's dream. I saw Richard's fall, his empire gone, his pride shattered, and felt no joy, only pity. A shared humanity. The board's silence, once a blade, now faded, their change a mirror to mine. The rain's song swelled, its notes a hymn of freedom, washing away old grudges. If you carried hate, would you let it go? I did, my soul lighter, as I chose love over vengeance, hope over pain. The cedar's roots ran deep, anchoring my resolve, a life unbound by past wrongs. I breathed deeply. Seattle's air clean, its promise clear, as I stood, no longer tethered to resentment, but free to live, to love, to build, for my family, for Olivia, for a world that needed light. I walked to Puget Sound's edge, Seattle's rain soft on my face, and tore my letter to Richard, its pieces scattering on the water, a final act of letting go. Each fragment carried my pain, my hate, my fight, now released, free as the waves. I forgave him, not for his sake, but mine, to live fully for Sarah, Leo, Sam. The city cedars loomed tall, their branches wide, embracing my choice. A symbol of peace. I whispered to Olivia, I'm whole, her spirit in the wind, her love my guide. If you could release your past, would you? I did, my heart steady, as the water took my burden, cleansing me. The rain fell gently, its rhythm a pulse of renewal, urging me forward. Seattle's dawn burned bright, its light eternal, as I stood, unburdened, forgiven, forgiving. Leo's hand would wait, Sam's laugh would call, Sarah's strength would hold me, and I knew I was free, ready to carry Olivia's dream, my love, my life, with a soul at peace, forever. I sat on a bench by Puget Sound, Seattle's waves lapping gently, the city's rain a faint mist on my face. The cedars stood sentinel, their branches swaying in the breeze, as if holding space for my thoughts. No words came, just the quiet hum of the world, gulls calling, water whispering, leaves rustling. Leo's laughter echoed from a distance, Sam's voice chasing him, Sarah's soft hum blending with the wind. The skyline shimmered, its lights soft, a canvas of dreams reborn. I closed my eyes, feeling Olivia's presence, her love a pulse in the air, guiding me still. The rain's rhythm slowed, its drops a tender caress, inviting pause, reflection. If you sat here, would you feel the world breathe with you? I did, my heart steady, as the silence wrapped me. A gift to savor, to share. The fog curled over the water, a veil of peace, softening time's edges. Seattle's dawn hovered, its light a quiet promise, as I lingered, wordless, letting the moment hold me, the audience, our story, in a stillness deeper than words, a communion of hope, love, life. I turned to the camera, Seattle's cedars framing my view, and spoke to you. My voice warm, my eyes steady. If you're lost in darkness, I'm here, waiting for you, I said, meaning every word. I know pain, Olivia's grave, Richard's betrayal, Sarah's fading breath, but I found light in love, in Leo, Sam, our fight. You're not alone, you're hurt, your hope matters. The city's rain fell softly, its rhythm a pulse of connection, binding us across miles. If you feel unseen, unheard, know I see you, hear you. I shared my story to show you can rise, not as a hero, but as you, flawed, fierce enough. Sarah's strength, Leo's trust, Sam's joy, they're yours, too, waiting in your heart. The cedar's roots ran deep, grounding my words, a vow to stand with you. Seattle's light broke through, clear and warm, a beacon for your path. If you're ready, I'm here, my hand outstretched, inviting you to step forward, to find your light, to live your truth, with me, with us, now. I leaned closer, Seattle's skyline aglow, and urged you to share your story. Your voice can light someone's way, I said, my heart full, picturing your words rippling like waves. Tell of your loss, your fight, your hope, each truth a seed. Like Olivia's dream, growing life, the Olivia Vance Foundation waits, a home for your story, your strength. A girl's letter thanked me for saving her mother. Your story could save another. The rain song swelled, its notes a hymn of unity, calling you to speak. If you held such power, would you share it? I did, and I ask you to, with Leo's smile, Sam's courage, Sarah's fire as your guide. The cedars swayed, their branches wide, embracing your voice, your truth. Seattle's dawn burned bright, its promise boundless, as I invited you to join us. Hashtag Olivia Vance your cry. Your story isn't just yours, it's ours, a spark to heal, to hope, to change the world, starting now. I stood in the Evergreen Medical Center, Seattle's rain a gentle hum, and thanked you, my heart full, for walking this path with me. You listened, from Olivia's grave to Sarah's recovery, through Richard's lies to the foundation's birth. Your comments, your shares, your silent tears, They fueled our fight, made Olivia's light shine brighter. I saw your messages, each one a spark, saying our story gave you hope, strength, love. The city's cedars framed the window, their branches wide, embracing your presence in our lives. Without you, our tale might have faded, but you carried it, shared it, lived it with us. If you joined such a journey, would you feel this gratitude? I do, my soul steady, as I honor your role in our triumph, your faith in our dream. The rain's rhythm pulsed, its song a chorus of thanks, binding us. Seattle's dawn glowed, its light a testament to your impact, as I bowed my head, grateful for you, for every heart that joined ours, making this story, this hope, eternal. I promise to carry on. Seattle's skyline aglow, my vow rooted in Olivia's love, Sarah's strength, Leo and Sam's joy. The Olivia Vance Foundation will grow, its research free, its clinics open, healing lives across the world. I'll stand with my family, guiding the foundation, raising our children, living for hope, not power. The city's rain fell steady, its notes a pledge, urging me forward. I'll face new storms, but I'm ready, shaped by pain, love, truth. If you made such a promise, would you hold it close? I will, my heart clear, as I dedicate my life to Olivia's dream. To every soul we touch, the cedar's roots ran deep, mirroring my resolve, a future built on love. I'll walk with Sarah, teach Leo, Sam, our new daughter, to live with courage, compassion. Seattle's light burned bright, its promise boundless, as I stood, committed to a life of service, of family, of hope, carrying Olivia's legacy, our story, forever. I call you now. Seattle's waves whispering, to act, to share your story, to light the world. Don't hide your pain, your hope. It's a spark, like Olivia's, that can heal, inspire, change. Post it, speak it, live it. With hashtag Olivia Vance as your cry. The foundation waits, your voice its strength. The rain's song swelled, its rhythm a hymn of action, urging you to rise. If you held this power, would you use it? I ask you to, with Leo's smile, Sam's courage, Sarah's fire as your guide. The cedars swayed, their branches open, inviting your truth. Seattle's dawn shone clear, its promise yours. As I urged you to begin, to share, to hope, your story could save a life, spark a movement, light a path. Don't wait. Act now. Let your voice soar. Join us. Make hope eternal, as Olivia's love does. Always.